Good afternoon, Maverick traders. Welcome to the Market Roundup. Joe with you here. It's the 4th of February. Let's jump straight into it. You guys know how this works. I'm going to jump into the meaningful news of the day. Let's take a look at what the markets have been up to technically, and let's share some trades as always.
Disclaimer. This video was created for professional stock and option traders. Maverick Trading is a proprietary trading firm that employs professional traders around the world. Our traders trade firm capital and keep 70 to 80% of profits they generate. All trades and analysis in this video are for professional traders only. If you are interested in becoming a professional trader for Maverick, click the apply button in the video description. Let's break down what happened today.
Moving into the market analysis, we basically got another move to the upside. Looks like a little bit of a follow through from yesterday's recovery. I should say, well, towards the end of the day yesterday. So let's just jump straight in the daily news. So we have a bullish bounce today. We're still trying to digest that tariff action. What's it going to do? What's the real impact? And it's kind of this, who knows what's going to happen. So we got that initial down move. The futures were down quite a bit over the weekend coming into Monday. But here we are, kind of recovered the majority, and we're climbing back as well. We'll get to the chart here in a second. Now, the earnings season still out there. We got some big ones coming up as well. We'll keep an eye on that. But those are the two drivers of these markets. So let's go to how we finished. So the Dow put on just over 0.25%. The S&P just over half. But the Qs, a good rebound, 1.35%, along with the Russells. So oil down a little bit. Gold up as well. Let's get the advanced decline line here. 73% of stocks up. It's a bounce. It's a sizable bounce, and the majority of everything took part of it. But we are still sitting 50-50 on the above, below the moving day average, so we're not really gaining any ground. It's interesting. We're seeing a whole lot of reaction and a whole lot of counter reaction. It's creating a lot of gaps, but however, it is giving us at least something we can chart, and that's what I want to focus on. So let's just get straight into it here. So the idea is, okay, well, we get these gaps. Announcement here, okay? Here's the tariff worries and the subsequent over the weekend, boom. And so gaps and retracements, gaps, and it looks like we're going to retrace. So one thing that I'd like to, talk about or kind of echo, Corey said, hey, look, overall, we're kind of sliding down. And I agree. I think sideways is still very, very strong here because the way that these markets are trying to get back and just claw its way back above that, 60-50, can we call it that? It does pretty well. Long shadow here off that bottom. But look at this bearish engulfing candle, which came through with the gap. It's a gap retracement. So how do you play this? Well, you just kind of play the pattern itself. Now, two things I'd like to talk about, and we'll see what happens tomorrow. This is fun. I get to do this again tomorrow, folks. I just want to see if we are indeed going to get something back up to this area. Let me get kind of a more fun box here. If we're going to get, some sort of a march back up to this area, or we're indeed just going to, flip around, gap down. We've got some heavy hitters coming out when it comes to earnings tomorrow and tomorrow afternoon. So are we going to roll back down and kind of get back more towards this area, this trend line, or are we just kind of meander? So it's a real interesting place to be. It's made it super difficult. It's a lot more volatile than I've seen each year in the past. Usually January has its effect, and then February and March things to slow out. But we've got administration changes, quite a bit of changes when it comes to tariff worries, and then we have earnings. So yeah, it's like, okay, everybody's just kind of scattered, and I still feel that way. I still feel that these stocks are just trying to figure out where they want to go or where traders want to put money, and because it's across all sectors. One thing that I would like to point out, though, is we do have kind of this slow-moving flag pattern almost. And I talked about this a while ago, I'd say over the last subsequent weeks. Rob referred to, hey, I saw this move up. I just need to see something more before I go full bull or buy into this. Well, it actually did happen, right? We had a bullish flag pattern. It jumped back up, and it actually triggered. Now, we are threatening this line, but overall, folks, this pattern here that we're in now is still above the previous flag pattern itself. I do expect this thing to play more of a sideways, and yes, I have to agree with Corey, sideways to slightly down. However, if we can get through earnings and this tariff stuff and have things kind of smooth out, then yes, then we could see if we can't maybe test the waters to this upside. But It is super selective out there, folks, to say the least. I think that's kind of what I'm going to do over the next couple of days here with you, is just tell you, hey, just remind you, it's selective, very selective with specific companies more so than I see sectors. Here is the Qs. Qs had a really good bounce today. You can see it actually shoved itself all the way back up above their averages. Didn't stay here very long, right? It just took off and boom, we're right back to this area. It's got a kind of a similar pattern here. You can see I'm using the arrow tip, but you can see it kind of had that pattern, jumped up, but then it gapped a lot lower. It's just a lot more volatile. But we'll see where that plays out. But right now, this is looking a little bit more bullish, I have to say, than the SPY. But the diamonds themselves, if you guys look at the industrials, they look very, very strong. So we just got to kind of chart what's in front of us. But based on the volatility out there, it is pretty difficult to find specific stocks specific sectors that'll stay strong or stay weak. Let's get into our heat map. You guys can see it's all green. What was red is now green. Financials started super strong on the earnings side. They're still strong. There's a lot of good numbers out there when it comes to earnings and some pretty good stocks. But energy, this was pretty interesting to see as well. So what have I got for an outlook? I'm going to stick at a 0. Let me do this now that I'm zoomed out a little bit. I am seeing what could be a symmetrical triangle on both the SPY and the Qs. But I'm just going to have to once again agree with Corey and say, look, man, I think we have a hard time breaking out of this area here. We might retest it, but we might chomp around. I do believe that we could threaten this lower area, because it would still keep moving average intact there. So we'll see how much selling is going to go on based on just sentiment. And that's all this is, folks. It's just sentiment and digestion of expectations in the future. We're seeing good numbers. We got a strong economy. Things are great. But with some of these tariff changes, there's some unknowns out there. What was Corey referred to? Known unknowns. We knew they were going to happen, but we don't know how these tariffs are going to impact these markets. So keep that in mind. So I kept it pretty much flat, but overall, folks, we're still above the 20. We're still above the 50. Price action doesn't stay there for very long. We'll see what happens tomorrow. So we'll be able to chat on that. Okay, so I got to have at least some trades to share, and I do have some trades, and they're basically where you find them. Up the top, I took the two strongest, right? Communication services and industrials, right? Those were the stronger ones for the week. So I've got a mining company here. We got steel. I got Roblox and Reddit, which are doing great. Everything that has been doing good has just stayed good. And on the weak side, everything that's doing bad is staying bad. And these are larger names. They're just out of favor. So let's just take a quick example here. This is Materials Corp. It's a mining company. And look, I just love the volume. I believe this might have been earnings, but a nice push to the upside. It had this beautiful breakout. I love high base breakouts. I love high base here. And then we had a nice move to the upside that's pushed above it. So a very strong stock. I'm looking for charts like that. Now, folks, I find charts like that not only in the stronger sectors, but I can find a chart like this in the weak sector. It's all over the place. It's very specific to companies more so than sectors for now. I just like the volume, the participation of the move. Jumping all the way down to the bear side, I'm going to pick on PACCAR here. PACCAR's been one of the stronger companies for a little while, right? It's been on and off our watch list. Now, I would like to continue to keep this sideways. In fact, folks, I think we did have this sideways a little while ago. I do like this kind of consolidation area. It looks like it might have slipped here. Here's its earnings, some sort of an announcement there maybe. I'm not sure what that involved. You can research it. But if this continues to slope lower, I have no problem targeting it down here. So sideways to bearish, absolutely. The bear trades that I put on, folks, have been doing pretty decent. They have bounced on me once or twice. But I'm experiencing the same gapping situation that the markets are in all of my trades. So overall, folks, we got, volatility has created gaps. And these gaps do allow us to chart, right? Gap down, retraces up, gap down, retraces up. But once again, we're on the same tout of, look, it's gapping down and it's coming higher. That's fine. But we're still overall in kind of a bearish trend here. So keep that in mind as you continue to scan. Still no real clarity on sector strength or weakness. So it's kind of hard to put all your eggs in one basket. So there's going to be strong, there's going to be weak. It's super selective. And I'm going to skip to the bottom there. It's because of earnings. We got Google, AMD, AMG, CMG. I think they're all coming out tonight. They're all coming out. So we're just going to see how those impact the markets as well. But, good companies usually are rewarded. Google was already up anyways. based on whatever it says in its announcement. It'll be interesting to see. But economic numbers, we do have the ADP employment and ISM services PMI tomorrow. We did have the ISM manufacturing number that was actually stronger than expected, but we did have a JOLTS job report, which is actually lower. So we'll see if there's any impact with those. But overall, folks, I'm just really not getting any sort of clarity when it comes to, hey, I've got my probabilities in this specific sector. It's more so specific stocks. So if you guys want to back off a little bit, maybe throw a couple of darts at one or two stocks up, one or two down, that's fine. Instead of maybe building and exposing a portfolio right now, I just think it's a little bit too muddled. All right, folks, that's all I got for today, and I'm going to see you tomorrow, so have a good one. Talk to you then.